I think my juices flow all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know as much as I know.
Right now, we've been able to stuff the stuff.
The curse is broken. NC State fans, finally. Finally.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving.
I mean, that's a triple play.
The Wolfpack ain't for soft. It ain't for soft people.
Scott Wood, you're the best shooter I've ever seen in person. There was never a time in a game where you weren't wide open where I thought, that's going in. You are NC State's career leader in three-pointers. You are also, I mean, it's 7, though? Is the most three-pointers that you've hit in a game? 7.
Yeah, I tried to keep it humble.
Freshman year at Florida State. Felt like a lot. But last night, NC State loses to Syracuse at home in a game where Chris Bell, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'd never heard of him until last night. He made 8 3-pointers in the first half of the basketball game. I want to try to talk rationally about how the first half of the basketball game happened last night, because that's where NC State lost. Give up 55 points in a half. You let somebody dot you 8 for 8 from 3.
8 of 9.
Yeah, excuse me. 8 of 9 for 3. I think he hit his first 7. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. So your takeaway from NC State's 87-83 loss to Syracuse last night at PNC Arena, where literally the Orange scored 55 points in the first half, and Scott Wood, one of the best shooters to play in the league, never had 20 minutes like Chris Bell did last night for Syracuse.
Yeah, giving up 55 and a half is tough to come back from. And they did a good job of coming back.
Yeah.
Another story, but
no, we can give them credit for what they did in the second half. We'll get there in a second.
Well, and Chris,
but I think they lost the basketball game as they did on their trip to Syracuse in the first 20 minutes of the game.
I agree. But let's also, Chris Bell averages almost 12 points a game.
Okay. I mean, it's not terrible, obviously.
42% from 3.
Yeah.
So without me just looking at the scouting report, they had to have known he's a shooter. 42% from 3 in today's game is a good clip.
Yeah.
Very good clip. So my question is, after he makes 2, maybe 3, you might want to give him a little more attention. Like he didn't even have to take a dribble. Did he take any off the bounce? I mean, he had a pump fake, sidestep shot one time, but for the most part, it was just catch and shoot. So at some point, it has to become about scout, and it has to become of recognition that this guy is feeling it. He's playing well, regardless of how many points he averages, and you have to guard him. Very similar. It reminds me of when we played Temple. The difference is that kid wasn't on the scouting report, and he makes 5 shots in the first half, and he averages 4 points on the year.
Right. I call that the Wolfpack hero for a day.
But you got to adjust. You got to adjust, and they did a very bad job of it adjusting.
All right, so okay, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater here. I do think, just as it was before the Clemson game, it is after the Clemson game. They still have a chance. You give yourself a chance by winning games. And now with only 5 games left, though, in the regular season, it's imperative. It's not just that you lost, it's you lost the opportunity to add a win to your resume.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that there are 5 teams in the ACC that will end up with 2 spots in the NCAA tournament. Those 5 teams are Wake Forest, who pounded Pitt last night. Pitt, who has a win over Duke on the road, which is going to be very helpful. Syracuse, which now has 2 wins over Pitt and 2 wins over NC State, and a home win over North Carolina, which is going to be very helpful. NC State, which does not have a win over Carolina, does not have a win over Duke. They still have 2 games left against those teams. State does have a win over Wake, but they don't have a win over Syracuse. They don't have a win over Virginia Tech, and they don't have a win over Pitt. That's not good. Virginia Tech is the other team. Virginia Tech, if you look at their resume, they have yet to play Pitt or Syracuse, which is kind of interesting this late in the year. They do have a win over NC State. They lost to Wake Forest. Virginia Tech also has arguably the league's best win outside of in non-conference play, which was against Iowa State back in November. So I think of those 5 teams, Wake, Pitt, Syracuse State, Virginia Tech, 2 will make the NCAA tournament. if we're stacking them right now, I think Wake and Pitt have the best cases, with Syracuse not that far behind.
I think Wake's in. I think Wake gets in.
Wake needs to. Now, Wake has a win over Florida, and Wake has good home wins. Wake absolutely has to beat Duke on Saturday. Like there's no way around that one for them.
I think Wake will find a way to get in.
I
don't see any of the other ones though.
Really? I think of the 5, I think 2 will get in. Now you can't sit here and do what Pitt did last night, lose by 100, but it's not just a 1-to-1 game-to-game snapshot. That's what's more important for NC State to realize. I think the disheartening thing for NC State is when you give yourself a chance by beating Clemson the way that they did on Saturday, and not only in dramatic fashion, but by playing really well in the first half, getting behind in the second half, and then winning again in a way that I thought was repeatable. You come out and you have the first 20 minutes that you do against Syracuse. That's not acceptable. I don't even know how you get there. I don't know how you get there mentally is what I'm saying. And we're allowed to have an honest conversation and be critical of what is happening and still not be like, well, let's fire the guy and let's get rid of the world and burn the whole place down. I thought the first half, though, was bad. You can't have that. You just can't.
Well, you can't give up 55. 55 is an obscene.
Certainly not to Syracuse.
And my issue would be this is a defensive-minded team. It's not an offensively gifted team.
Yeah, so they have to win with their defense.
Why are you giving up 55? And especially with you had the big win against Clemson, and then you just come out sluggish and lay an egg in the first half.
Yeah.
Literally, if they keep that within 5-6 points, they go on to win by 10.
You played in a different era in the ACC, but you still didn't play everybody twice. I think you had maybe a year or two, something close to it. But in the old ACC, there was a round robin. You played, you saw a team at their place, you came back, you usually got them at your place. That's one of the things that bothered me about last night. They played like shit at Syracuse. You can't play like shit there and then get them back at your place and be like, oh, okay, cool. Dot me 8 times. Like, that can't happen. That can't be a thing.
I don't.
You coach AAU, like you coach high school age players. Like, it's been explained to me that players just don't have a long memory anymore. They play too many games. They don't care. Yada yada yada. Like,
that's not true.
If Syracuse beat me the way that they did up there, I would remember Syracuse. I would be interested in playing Syracuse on Tuesday night. At the beginning of the basketball game, it did not feel that way for NC State.
Well, and I'm not going to say that it's scouting reasons or basketball IQ. But at some point, you got to have recognition. Like, you got to understand that guy is now a hot closeout. He's made 3 in a row. He's made 4 in a row. He's made 5 in a row. He's made 6 in a row. He's now made 7 in a row.
Yeah.
You got to have recognition in the game. Like, you got to make somebody else score the ball. And Judah Mintz had 0 points
first half.
In the first half,
they didn't need him, quite frankly, and then they made a point to go to him in the second half there of that game. Again, I can hear Ron Francis's voice in my head. He was the old captain of the Carolina Hurricanes. He would always say, "Can't get too high after wins. You can't get too low after losses." I just don't. NC State is running out of chances. They're hurting themselves by not being able to build off of the win at Clemson. The games that they have left, they get Boston College on Saturday. I suspect, much like the law of the wolf will kick in when you start doubting them, I suspect they probably play pretty well on Saturday against the Boston College team that they should beat. But at this point, I'm at a loss for the first half of last night. That one really kind of knocked me back. I'm not going to lie to you.
Housekeeping.
Big thanks to Hayes Lancaster, the OG. There is no law of the wolf without him and the support of Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority. You got bugs inside the house, get rid of them. Outside the house, prevent them from getting there. And also any kind of moisture underneath your house, you got to protect your number one investment. That is your home. So do yourself a favor. Hayes Lancaster is the OG, but he doesn't believe in contracts. He does save you money. So go check them out. It's bugsbite.com. Bugsbite.com. Punch in your zip code and you will be able to save yourself all kinds of money. And maybe you're looking for a new zip code. Maybe you're looking for a new home. Maybe you're ready to sell your place and buy a new one. The best thing to do is check in with my friends at Hometown Realty. That's Hometown Realty. It's myhtr.com. buy, sell, calculate. They make it as easy as it possibly can. And, you get that help from Josh Goodson over at RTP Mortgage. And then do yourself a favor. You know what you can afford. You go to Hometown Realty. That's myhtr.com. Maybe you're going to need some help closing on the house, or maybe you have a stray traffic violation in downtown Raleigh. That would be me. I go to my friends at Whitaker and Hamer for all of my legal help. They have the world's greatest URL. Josh Whitaker, also a big State fan. So support those who support us. Go to wh.lawyer. Speaking of those who support us, can't get enough of the dark roast coffee at the Breeze Through. We will need that for the OG tailgate on Saturday. We'll also need some ice. We'll also need some beers. We'll also need some snacks. All those things, 17 locations in the state of North Carolina. Wherever you go, Breeze Through has you covered. And of course, if you want to be swagged out, you want to have the best merch out there for NC State, maybe for baseball season, maybe trying to get ready. Well, Home Field Apparel, homefieldapparel.com. Use that promo code. I never get my points right when I'm doing. I noticed that when I watch back. Use that promo code OG23. Save yourself 15% on that initial order. They have such great stuff, State stuff, hats, shirts, hoodies, you name it. They've got it. So go check them out at homefieldapparel.com. So we'll see how they can recover and where they go to from there. That's not really what I wanted today's episode to be about, though. I want to bring on, because we've had way too many moments this year on Law of the Wolf where I've said, let's tell a Richard Howell story. Let's tell a story about Rich. Let's have story time with Rich. So even better, let's bring him on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. That smiling face, that is Rich. Big and Rich, my God, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing? How's everybody doing? What's up, Scotty?
What's going on? It's like Beard Gang. Beard Gang today.
It's we keeping it alive. NIL is alive. We keeping Beard Gang alive, huh?
I mean, how much money did you leave on the table by not being able to cash in on those shirts? Did you ever go back to those guys and be like, hey, I'll take a dollar a shirt.
I need my percentage. My percentage, huh? Man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Slide it under the table.
I could never forget the day walking in Miss Debbie Yow's office, and she's shutting the whole thing down, shutting the entire thing down.
Yeah. Well, she knew that you couldn't get a piece of it, so I think that was probably
for sure.
Process there was
for sure.
While this seems cool, it would be a whole lot better if you were allowed. The person who's speaking of actual name, image, and likeness, right?
For sure.
Rich, you were way ahead. Which form of violence would you prefer for me to choose to start this interview process with? Which way on choose your own adventure? Which way would you like to go?
Hey, man, we're pushing peace, man. No violence this way.
All right, I'll start with a trivia question then.
Okay.
How many times in your career at NC State did you foul out? Do you know the answer to this?
Wow. I know freshman year was definitely rushed, even with sparing minutes. I fouled out quite a lot in 8-minute span that I played, if it was that. Listen, before I get into that, I always say you can't play great defense without fouling. So anybody who finishes the game with no fouls and they claim they're a defensive player, I don't believe it. But anyway, man, 100% over 20.
Scott, you have a guess?
Well, it's kind of cheating. I've already seen at least one statistic, but I'd say he'd be under 20, but he's definitely north of 15.
Yeah. Believe it or not, Rich, you only fouled out once your freshman year.
Oh, really?
Because you just weren't on the floor enough, right?
Wow.
We had the great moments in Rich history where you cut your leg on the
Virginia Tech. Yeah, going out. Supposed to be my first start too.
Was it?
Yeah, I was supposed to start that game. My first start. It cut my leg open.
And I remember that. I still tell that story to this day. Every time I see him run through, I'm just like, this is the worst I did. They really do. It's like bolts and screws that are holding that thing on, and they come on the inside. So when you're going, it's a hazard.
Yeah, it's definitely a hazard. It's nothing to protect. There's no cushion or no little something in between that sharp point.
It was your leg, right? Cut your thigh.
Yeah, right above my knee, right above it, gashed it right open.
Oh, all right. So you only found out once freshman year. Then it was 6, 6, and 5. So you actually had fewer your senior year. 18 in your career. I would have gone over if I had in my own head formulated with you. I would have gone with 20 in that general. But I do remember your senior year. You had a couple early, and then you slowed it down some.
I guess I'm going off of the stupid fouls because it was a lot of those. The reaching fouls. I don't think I got too many trying to block somebody's shot. You know, I can't jump over a pack of Starburst, but I'm pretty sure most of them definitely came from reaching in, especially in the backcourt. Scott
said the real problem was your hands were too good.
A gift and a curse.
Yeah, right.
I can guarantee one thing: if there was a high hedge, Richard
I'm going for
trying to steal the ball.
I'm going for it.
He is trying to steal the ball. Period.
And this made my career for overseas as well. So yeah, I'm definitely going for the high hedge. And it's not even going to be to stop him. I'm going straight for the ball.
Where was your favorite place that you ended up playing professionally, Rich?
Favorite place?
We see you scoring over Mason Plumlee here that I've pulled up from my friend Ethan Hyman. I asked him. I said, "Hey man, Rich is going to be on the pod, and I need a couple picks."
No, Mason's a great guy. That was a great matchup. Favorite place I played was probably the Philippines.
The Philippines. Oh, did you play for Tipitapa?
I did. TNT. I did.
Did you see that poll?
That's only because Joe probably gambles.
I gambled on Filipino basketball during the pandemic. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. Tipitapa was my squad, man.
Yeah. They're like the Los Angeles Lakers of the PBA over there.
Okay. What made that part the best? Was there like a big crowd support? I mean,
yeah.
I know you can play at an empty gym, but
so it's called the PBA, Philippine Basketball Association, and I think, in my opinion, they really mimic the NBA. So they kind of do everything geared towards that, as far as how they treat the players, the relationship with the fans, and just kind of the everyday life of it. And it's U.S. custom, you know. So it's not like where you're eating these crazy foods that you never heard of. Of course, they have, you know, those type of restaurants, but they have, you know, like a Jollibee, which is like a KFC. They got just regular American things that you can, you know, get there and eat and feel accustomed to everything and feel good about, you know, where you're at. But to me, it was just like the support from the fans, and just the place is beautiful. Manila is beautiful. We played in Antonio High School, which is where the Thriller Manila was. They have a mall in this, it's called the Super Mall of Asia. It's like one of the biggest malls in the world. They have a basketball court in that mall. So it was just being able to see those type of things. It was, for me, it was crazy. And it was like my second year out of school after I left the D League. So it was pretty amazing.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, Rich.
Yes, sir.
I like it. You spent a lot of time in Israel. What was that like for you?
I loved it. It was like a second home for me. I spent I guess half of my career there. It definitely has its high and lows, you know, being away from the family. I think that's anywhere, not just Israel. But it's a beautiful place, beautiful country. I always say Israel they're true to their culture, their people. You know, America, I always say, like, you can go into a store in America, and even if you're not having a good morning, somebody's going to smile at you and say, hey, good morning. You know, that's just like the American way. In Israel, they're going to let you know if they're having if their day isn't going as well, they're not going to look at you and say good morning. You know, they're not going to, it's just not that kind of warm vibe. You know, but don't get me wrong, it's a great place to be. It's just one of those places where I think, like I said, they're true to their culture. They're true to, you know, who they are. They have their own way of living. But I loved it. It was beautiful. Beautiful place, great food, beautiful people once you get to know everything. And yeah, I think, you know, the hardest thing, I guess, for any place where you go, you have to adapt to their culture as well. You have to adapt to what's going on in that country, and it's really forced upon you. You don't really have any choice.
Speaking of people who owe you, did Scott Wood ever contribute any of his professional checks from Spain or Turkey, since all of your screens in college are the reason that he was ever able to cash a check professionally?
Hey, it's a two-way street. I always say, I look good, he look good. So as long as he make it, I have no problem with being an unsung hero. He has a prettier jump shot than mine anyway. It looks good seeing a three-pointer on TV versus a screen, right? So it's it's a two-way street.
But I think that's the beauty in it. Like after a while, they'd start hedging, and I'd just throw it to him. So it's a good little two-way game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to set this story up. I'm going to set this question up because I need to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to start this the long way. You still have your tattoo of what is the one on the wrist that I made a joke to CJ Leslie about? Is it Eat, Pray, Love? What do you have on your wrist that's...
Oh, yeah, the 3 L's. Love, live, laugh.
Love, live, laugh. Okay, so I'm going to set this. This is a long way to ask a question that I've been dying for an answer to. You have the 3 L's on your wrist. I wrote a story about you your senior year. We're actually in Dayton for the first 4. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking you about the tattoo and your daughter, who I can't believe is your daughter 13 now?
Yeah, she is. She's actually, the crazy thing is she's actually here now. I went to drive to I met her mom in South Carolina on Monday. So she got in Atlanta. They have fall break in high school or in middle school. So yeah, she's upstairs sleeping right now. But
aging me, aging you, aging this one over here. So I wrote a nice story. You had an unbelievable senior year. I mean,
I think
the reason that people will watch this and still resonate with this was the way that you, as Scott was saying, you used to sweat a lot, but you can't sweat a lot without hard work. So I think to this day, State fans still appreciate the way that you, not only the hard work you put in, transform your body, you poured it all out, literally, man. I don't remember covering anybody who played any harder or it meant more to than you. So
for sure, I appreciate that.
That senior year, I was writing a story, and you're like, "Yeah, I have this live, laugh, love," and I was like, "Man, that's like really like kind of out there for you, Rich." And you and I had a conversation about it, and then I was asking CJ Leslie about it. Now, I did not know what had happened earlier in the season. All I had known was I like to give CJ a hard time. So I said to CJ, I said, "Yeah, that's." That tattoo, here's Rich, and he's kind of showing this softer side with his daughter. I was like, is Rich kind of soft? Is he like a softie? And CJ, who does not like me and did not like me, he looked at me in Dayton and he goes, "Did you ask Rich that question?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I kind of like talked to him about the tattoo and his daughter." He's like, No. We need to go ask Rich that question right now. And I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "Rich is going to punch you. I wanted to see Rich punch you." I had no idea. I had no idea at the time. You punched CJ in the locker room. Was it before the season or was it before the Carolina game? I need to know this story for the record right now. Scott Wood ducks his head. And I didn't get it from Scott Wood. I got it from your coach all these years later. I can say that.
Hey, I have no idea what you're talking about. Never got to a fight with any of my brothers, teammates, or anything like that.
Well, doesn't mean a fight doesn't. A punch, one purpose punch doesn't mean that there was a fight.
I've never struck, laid hands on, any of that nature to my brothers or my teammates, especially CJ. I've known him since we played AAU together since middle school, I want to say. So. No, I don't think there's any facts to that story.
Okay.
Which coach said that?
The God man.
Coach Godfrey said that, huh?
Yeah.
That's my guy too. I love him. I don't know, man. Coach Godfrey has a lot of stories, man. I'm not gonna. I can't speak on that. I don't know. I have no recollection.
There's the statute of limitations. Wow. All right, I like it.
Hey, and I like how Scott had a screen disappear on that question too.
Yeah, I don't really know what's happening with Scott.
They put a laptop in front of me for the first time, so I've been hitting buttons trying to figure it out. So I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah, he disappeared on
I can tell you
now
this,
you're back.
I've it's probably because it went in sleep mode. I've broken up a lot of fights while I was at NC State. I took pride that I was never involved in any, but There's a Javi Julius one that comes
I was
to
going
mind.
to say, yeah.
Oh man,
One involved.
Rich.
maybe that's what you're talking about, or the hobby. Let's skip that one. We could talk about Deshaun and Dennis Horner. Do you remember that one?
That was a good one.
Ooh.
On the baseline. And I always was the first one to get involved, but I can promise you, any altercation that came with Richard, I just let Richard handle his business.
Yeah. Well, we already got the one from the trip to Spain.
Yeah.
The preseason trip to Spain.
He's the only one. I just remember getting laid out and pinned against the wall. And all I know is Richard is just on top of some poor Spanish kid.
Wait. Run his back. When
we were in Spain, I was going through a really good stretch. I was shooting the leather off the ball. And we were running corner or something. And it was to the point where they're getting frustrated because I kept making some shots. And I got leveled. Do you remember the dust storm that came through? And
yes.
This was your summer trip that you guys took to
in Tenerife. And the guy leveled me. And Richard seen it. The next thing I know, he was in a headlock. And
I went on him. I took off on him. Yeah.
The bench was cleared so quick. And I'm just laying on the ground holding my shoulder. And
I don't think they called a foul, though.
They didn't.
This was one of the things that really so there was no justice involved in my part. So I was like, okay, I'll handle that for you, ref. Don't worry. I remember that for sure.
I just remember laying on the ground and there's like 4 dudes just trying to get on Richard's back, and he's just got him in a headlock or just doing something. And all the officials are just sitting there, just kind of like, I want no part of what is happening right now.
If I get Breaking Tea to make Sweet 16, 2012 Sweet 16 NC State shirts, would you buy one?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. One of the best basketball moments of my life. Of course.
What do you remember from that tournament? I enjoyed that was Columbus, man. I got to be honest with you. I had a good time in Columbus.
Man, forget the tournament. I remember us getting together, praying to God that we get in.
Oh, that's right. That was the famous video that was kind of sort of edited, and the order was kind of. You guys weren't the last team in the field, but they revealed you as to be the last team in the field.
But we didn't know.
No, we had no idea.
No, I know.
After they, for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but after they name everybody, I'm looking around like, damn, I think it's over. I don't think we're gonna get in. And then it kind of comes up on the screen or whatever, and the joy, and just the spirit in that room. Where did we watch it at? I can't even remember the place.
It's not the University Club. It's right across from Lonnie Pool.
Where the golf State View.
Okay. Yeah, just seeing that on the screen, and then how I can never forget the day. Everybody was jumping up and down. Everybody was smiling. Everybody was ready to get to work. We knew the next step. So for me, forget the tournament. It was that experience of we don't know if we're going to get into. Okay, let's do it. Let's get to work. And it didn't pan out. How we think it was supposed to, but at the end of the day, I think we checked a lot of boxes off as far as okay, we made it, we can do it. Just the chips didn't fall.
10 years later, you remember that season more than the 13-1?
The next season?
Yeah, just like in general, when you look back at NC State, are you the kind of person that looks back?
Of course not, man.
Those kind of things, or do you remember 13?
Of course I remember 13. This was a disappointing year. We started off what 6th in the nation, I think. Yeah. And then we Oklahoma State, Marcus Smart got put on the board, and LeBron Nash got put on the board from those games, I believe. So where we go from there? From 6, it was just I don't know the ranking, but it was definitely
the
downhill.
Ranking, that was you guys actually played pretty well. You beat Carolina in the Ghost Reds, the uniforms there here in Raleigh.
Did we lose to Penn State there too after Oklahoma State?
No, you guys beat Penn State.
We beat Penn State. Okay.
You came back. You did not play again in Puerto Rico. You came back. There was a Michigan loss there. It's a pretty good Michigan team. And then you beat Duke in the butt slap game. And then you lose to Maryland. Of course, you guys always lost to Maryland. And like I said, that was you come back, you do get Carolina here. It was just kind of a weird year.
The tournament run, we lost in the first round of Temple, if I believe.
Temple, yeah, it was a first 4 game, and Scott was mentioning
Wyatt.
Temple had one player who decided that he was going
Khalif Wyatt.
Yeah.
Yep. That's my guy. He played in Israel.
I think Jake O'Brien was the one hitting the threes that wasn't on the scouting report though. So
yeah. So of course I remember 13, man. That was the season of very highs and super lows. As far as for a team, and what we were the potential of us, what we could have done.
You come back and see some games now. Scott and I like to tell them I don't recognize the ACC even from when you guys played. What do you think of the ACC? What do you make of kind of what this year's team's kind of going through too?
It's different, man. We got Pitt, Syracuse, and all of these teams. It's like it's what to think. What is it going to look like in a couple of years as far as the portal and just adding all of these teams, and what happens to the mid-major teams and these other conferences. So to me, I don't know what to think. It's interesting to kind of sit back and see, how it unfolds and how the playing field start to get level, really.
Well, Rich, I appreciate you, man, even though I think you're not telling me the whole truth.
About what? I'm always telling the truth.
About CJ.
What about
I think Scott knows it too. That's funny. I didn't sell out Scott. He was like, you could ask Rich about that. Everyone's afraid of you, man.
I don't know why, man.
I don't get it.
I'm a teddy bear. I'm a teddy bear.
He's on the wrist.
He's a teddy bear you don't want to piss off. That's what it is. You just don't.
Takes
you
a lot.
You don't poke that bear.
It takes a lot, though. I'm not. It takes a lot to kind of get me out of character and get me, really upset. And I don't think Calvin's ever done that. Calvin's never. And I'll call him Calvin. Y'all call him CJ. Coach Godfrey came in. We had a new CJ. He wasn't CJ anymore. He was Calvin. In my phone, he's Calvin. And I don't want to out you guys out, but I'm in contact with Calvin a lot. We play a video game together, so I'm definitely gonna say, "Hey, man," they try to say we got into a fight in college, but no.
To be clear, it was not a fight. It was expressed to me, and I can't remember if it was supposed to be before the season started or before the Carolina game, the first Carolina game, that you were in the locker room and that you actually punched CJ. That's what was relayed to me. That was the story relayed to me. So no, there wasn't a fight.
It was more probably a tussle,
a skirmish.
And I was not there. I was on the court, and I do not think it was in the locker room.
It would have been at the Dale Center.
It was at the Dale, but it wasn't. Yeah. And I think it was in the training room.
Okay.
They probably got mad over who was taping somebody first before practice. I have no idea, but the one skirmish that I was not actually there or involved in was that one. And I wouldn't even fight as a
I did not use the word fight. I was told there was a punch thrown.
That's more like a wrestle. It's like a wrestle, and then everybody just kind of went in there. But I think we were all good after that. That's the beauty about basketball,
right?
You just
for sure,
yeah. And that's and that was I think that was the year it was up and down, like things weren't going. It
was
our way.
13, yeah.
It was senior year.
I could promise you, going back on it, me and Richard wouldn't be throwing hands with Calvin. We'd find some other people to throw hands on.
You wouldn't be trying to hurt him in any way, shape, or form. So I had to be reminded today that you weren't first team. Speaking of things to get you upset about, you weren't first team All ACC as a senior. That just doesn't seem right.
I wasn't.
Yeah, second team.
Oh yeah, second team. Who was it? Well, I guess Mason Plumlee and who else?
Not even Mason. Oh, it was Mason Plumlee. Joe Harris, Mason Plumlee, Shane Larkin, who was the player of the year, Eric Green and Shane Larkin, and Seth Curry. You were on the second team with Zoe, James Michael McAdoo, Kenny Kaji, and CJ Bullock. Reggie Bullock.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Fun times.
At least it's a good named list.
Oh, I mean,
a lot of them are pros. So
I just remembered I was going to introduce him as Richard Howell, All ACC. He still was.
You still can, yeah.
I mean,
hey, I'm cool with Richard Howell. I'm fine with that.
Giglio rankings. All right, what's up next for you, Rich? What you got working on?
Nothing much, man. Just enjoying my kids, man. I work at a little nonprofit trying to help kids get their GED, tutor kids as well. But the main thing is trying to watch my kids grow and see how they turn out. You know, I missed a lot of them being overseas, and kind of missed some basketball and some soccer and things like that. So now I'm just kind of happy to be back, be a full-time parent, be able to watch everything.
You play any golf?
I've tried when I was younger. It's more of a concentration game.
Okay.
And that's not me. I'm kind of more of I want to do something, but not think so much, I guess.
Just get you out there. I mean, you can team up and beat Scott Wood over here.
I don't know, man. I heard Scott's pretty good.
Yeah, he's got
Scott's
skills.
pretty good.
Just as long as he's not on my team, he's fine.
We should start a stream and do the Dale games that we're getting now.
Oh yeah,
Rich looks like mini Carmelo Anthony right now.
Rich,
hey,
he
Scott,
looks in good shape. Man. He's playing well too.
Scott, I love that, man. Thank you. That's my favorite player.
That's why I said it. If I had a dollar for every time I had to hear Melo in a pickup game, I'd be rich right now.
Oh yeah. Now that we are out of college and we don't have anybody guiding us of the way we play, I could play how I want now, baby. I could be
point forward.
Yeah, I could be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar one day, and then tomorrow I could be Steve Nash, and then I could be Reggie Miller or Scott Wood,
spotting up, hitting
and
threes.
The beauty is it's the short court, so we're going sideways. So we don't have.
Oh my gosh! And
you can
still getting tired.
If you want?
Oh,
still getting tired. It's crazy, man.
3-on-3 or more than that?
4 is the max, but 3 is probably better.
The best number.
When you have help side defense, it makes things a lot harder for guys our age.
Yeah, yeah.
Rich,
are you playing tomorrow?
I should be able to come in.
Okay. We'll see who shows up.
Rich, you're helping people, man. I need your secrets you lost weight after your sophomore year, and you've never put it back on. I mean, that was 14 years ago, dude.
Hey, man, I don't know. Coach Godfrey, first off, he's the one who kind of shifted my mindset in losing the weight. But I wouldn't I didn't do anything specific, really, man. It was literally like just yogurt and not eating. I had so much. I would go to the food line on Western Boulevard, and I had just like these big things of yogurt, man. And anytime I got hungry, I would just eat on that. And then it was like I said, fried food is my favorite. This is a weakness for me. So I was constantly at, and this is back when nobody cared about, what fast food did to your body. Now all of a sudden there's these crazy, myths about it, and I'm sure they're true. But I used to, McDonald's, Bojangles, they're all on Western. It's a trap because they're right there.
Yeah.
So I'm going there, 3-4 times a day and getting food. And then, I had that talk with Coach Godfrey, and it kind of just shifted my mindset. And thank God it's never, that weight has, never came back or anything. But yeah, man, it was yogurt.
All right, I can't let us leave. I forgot that I had this unbelievable picture of the two of you. Let's go. You want to see young Scott Wood first? Super young Scott Wood?
Pre-beard gang.
Oh, pre-beard gang.
So let's see. Super young Scott Wood. Let's get this right. I'm not the technical one of this program, so sometimes, Rich, it takes me a minute. You see that?
Oh, wow.
Look at that guy on the left. Well, first of all, the guy on the right is John Wall. How do you know someone's not coming to school? Well, they're wearing a Yankees hat and nothing.
This is crazy. Why? So this on your visit?
Yeah.
Is this your visit?
It was one of them, yeah.
Wow. Is that Enrico? Enrico?
Yes.
Kendall?
Yes.
Wow.
I can't see the picture, but
why can't you see the picture? Hit the space bar.
I don't want to hit anything because it might turn it off.
Scott, you know how to work a laptop, bro.
I know, but I don't. It's got a lot of very impressive things on here.
Joe's got all right, so there's young Scott Wood with John Wall, and then here's the best one. Your walk around the thing. It's not like take your headphones off.
Oh,
and here, Rich, we'll go home on this one, Rich. Watch this one. You'll like this. You'll like this. Look at those two. Look at those two guys.
Hey,
babies. Just babies.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
All right, Rich, you're welcome on this program anytime.
Yeah, man. Next time I'll come in. Time I'll come in and I didn't know y'all were like side by side with each other. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
Scott comes down.
Sometimes.
You know, I make him. I twist his arm. All these years later,
Scott, we got to get a scrimmage on board, man. Oh, I didn't mention that. I have an AU program I started as
I was
well.
about to say, he's got an AU program he's running.
Yeah,
nice.
We're called the Triangle Aces.
When's your tryouts?
We had them this past Saturday at the Chavis Community Center. We had about 30 kids show up. We're thinking about a couple more kids text my phone a couple days ago, so we're thinking about holding another tryout / the first practice. But yeah, man, we gotta set up a scrimmage or something, man. I'm trying to listen. We were teammates, but now we're kind of like, you know,
we're always teammates. We're
That's right.
always
you set the screens, he'll make the shots.
That's the beauty again. As soon as we play against each other, we're absolutely trying to cut each other's throats. But
100%.
In the meantime, we're brothers. So
for sure. We'll definitely set something up because you've had George for a while, man. So I definitely need some pointers and want to learn from you and get as much advice as I can and see what'll happen for sure. Joe, I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely,
it was a blessing, man.
You let me know. I'll get you some yogurt sometime. You come on down.
Hey, man, I don't eat yogurt no more. I haven't touched it since then.
You come on over. You got one coming, man.
Well, man, thanks again, people. Yeah, have a good one.
Be good. All right, Rich, bringing it home for us.
I didn't tell. I had another story that I didn't even tell.
Well, we got more time. We've got more time that we can get back in. Great to see him, and great to see him trying to make a difference in what he's trying to do here back in Raleigh, and obviously with his own family, and then in the community itself. So one of the all-time good guys there in Rich Howell. All right, so we have basketball this weekend. State plays Boston College, and then next week let's look at the schedule so we know when we're going to record, since you don't like it when I don't remember when to make a plan with you. Next week, NC State plays again on Tuesday. They're on the road, so we'll be back next Wednesday. Once again, thanks to Richard Howell for joining us. Thanks to Scott Wood. And let's make sure we get the banner, since I'm now very proud of myself and how this works. Mortgage rates going in the right direction. You need some help, reach out to Scott Wood. It's scottwood15.com. Hey, maybe you're just early in the process of trying to figure out, what can I afford? What is my monthly mortgage payment going to look like? These are all early steps, but these are all ways that you can help yourself. So check them out. It's scottwood15.com. This is the Law of the Wolf. Hit the subscribe, follow, all those good things. Maybe leave a question. We'll have a weekly Ask Rich segment. That would be fun. That would definitely be fun. Appreciate you guys for watching and or listening. And we'll see you next week right here on Law of the Wolf.
Wolfpack ain't for soft. It ain't for soft people.